Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryankaravavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu, ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So I want to begin from verse 18, and because verse 18 was really the introduction for the next part of the following verses, and it said this metaphor of the king in the presence of the king. The kingdom is operated, the kingdom is run. This is verse 18. So now the only limitation with the king and the kingdom is the king is separate from the kingdom, whereas awareness is a satya mithya relationship with everything else. Awareness remains free of everything while being the content of all things. Now we have already performed an inquiry using satya mithya around objects such as a pot. Now, what about your thoughts? Because physical objects are quite simple. Well, how do you reduce your thoughts into awareness using satya mithya? So you start with a thought, which is vritti. Now, we already said that the content of the thought is atma, awareness. But just saying that is not good enough. You need to arrive to that. You need to understand that. So right now we had some nice kirtanam, or some nice music. That was actually a thought. That was just a long thought that was going on in your mind in a form of music, in a form of sounds. So if you look at a thought, it's dependent upon sounds, letters, okay? It's on time, volume. Okay? So a thought is, what's the substance of your thought? And yesterday we said it is 5 elements. 5 elements. And they were subtle in nature. This is the benefit of the Vedic model, 5 elements, because you can't reduce your thought into periodic table of elements. As I said, you cannot find a thought. Imagine a green door or whatever, your house at home. Now, imagine I'm a scientist and I want to split open your brain and I say I want to find a green door in one of your brain cells. I want, because if I look at your brain cell, it's made of molecules. That's what a brain cell is. But molecules are split into atoms. And that very atom that makes a germ also makes a white blood cell that kills a germ. So it shows you that atom is free of both the germ and the white blood cell. So this means when there's a satya mithya relationship, satyam is free of mithya, while mithya depends on satyam entirely. The germ depends on the atoms. The white blood cell in your body depends on the atoms, but atom is free of the germ. Otherwise, if the atom was germed out, then by the time it enters into a white blood cell, then the white blood cell would be incapable of countering the effects of a germ. Okay? So this is the basis of satya mithya. So 5 elements. So basically space, air, fire, water, earth. This is a Vedic model. That makes up your thoughts. And that thought was there, that content of that thought, those 5 elements, is even subtler than time and space. It's amazing. So if you want to reduce things, you go, an object like this is very solid. Very solid. I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it, I can smell it. Because it's earth. But what about water? Okay? Slightly subtler, because water is a little bit, kind of liquidy. Yeah, I can see water, I can definitely swim in water, I can taste water. I can't smell water though, because it's totally neutral. I can smell earth. Have you ever gone out of course you have, on a rainy day? Next time, just rainy day and just go to the ground. Let people say what they want to say. You're smelling the ground. Earth, that we used to know as little kids, earth smell. So earth has another property of smell, but water lacks that property. You can't smell water, but you can taste water. In fact, water enables taste to happen. Now there's no problem there, but what about fire? Look how instantly it changes the property. From earth, solid. Taste, touch, smell, see, hear the rumbling of the earth. Water, taste, touch, hear the splashing. And then you have fire. Can you smell fire?
Yeah.
You can smell fire? Smell fire, you'll burn yourself. Can you taste fire? No, so it lacks taste and smell. Can you hear fire? Yeah, you can still hear fire. But fire is very unique, isn't it? It's unlike water. Water, you still got that, you can put your hand, you can splash your hand. There's a force, impact. Fire, I can keep punching. Therefore, fire becomes subtler than earth and water. Now air. Look at air. Can you see air? No. That means air doesn't have the property of sight. That means you lose one more property. But your senses can still relate to air, can't they? Through your skin. Through earth is easy. My skin can relate to earth. My eyes can, my ears can, my taste, my smell. All five senses to see earth. Very easy to involve with. Now fire. I can't smell, out. I can't taste, out.
I can feel it.
Huh?
I can feel it.
You can, oh yes, good. You can definitely feel it, okay? So what, how many tastes, how many senses are involved there? We can see, we can feel, we can hear. So we got 3. Now let's take one more out. Air. You can't see, you can only hear and feel. Now air, notice how it's a little bit harder to relate to air because you're denied another sense to relate with it. Okay, you can kind of still like air, you know, it already wants to make you imagine air. Like it wants to imagine. But if I put a little bit of cloud, you know, a little bit of gas, some color, then you can kind of imagine, oh, air, okay, it's gaseous state. You can still feel it when it blows in your skin and hear it. Now you take away feeling. Now you only got space. Space, what space? You mean outer space? You tell us, you take the word space, you take the word space to a child, what would they think? Outer space. You see how already hard it becomes to relate. The more you take these senses away, the harder it is to relate to the subtler, 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 subtler. Space is everywhere. This is that which accommodates the space. Now, even subtler than that space is your thought. That's why Einstein, in classical physics, space and time is absolute. Modern physics, space and time is relative. That's because a human mind can hypothesize about that which is so subtle, space and time. So even subtler than space and time is thoughts. That's why we call thoughts subtle elements, and space and time and everything else gross elements. Because we can use instruments to theorize about and formulas about space and time. But how do you theorize about thoughts? You can theorize about the contents of your thoughts, like, oh, I've got a person in my head. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about putting thoughts on paper, formulas. You're not going to do that. There is very subtle matter. That's why it's a different kind of, it's subtle elements. Now, those 5 elements, they resolve into They resolve into? Intelligence. Intelligence. So in other words, it's nothing but intelligence putting together your thoughts in a form of making your thoughts what they are, according to your, your past conditioning, according to the environment. And intelligence always resolves into, finally, into awareness. Because if I ask you, hey, remember what you did yesterday? What did you do yesterday? Yeah, listening to music, sitting down here, right? Sitting here. So why, in whose presence are you remembering that? In my presence. That my is Atma, awareness. Now that memory is gone. When I asked you to remember, what got activated? My Chittam, my memory. Chittam, gone. There's something that is ever present right now. That ever available, ever present, and I can say, hey, I want you to remember a time when you fell in love. If a moment, just get that feeling into your body now. Access your Manomaya Kosha, please. When you fell in love, that first kiss, that first hug, that amazing moment when you scored a goal, a soccer goal, or something. And you're like, wow, I wish I could go back there. My first intimate encounter. Amazing. Okay? What's happening now? What is being accessed? Your mind. Manomaya Kosha. Gone. Let's go together. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Maybe it's too easy. How about threes? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 20. Keep going. Notice how it is a different sensation between intellect and emotions and memory. Memory is like that, quick. It's like just access, boom, instant, easy. Emotions, it takes time. It kind of on flow. It starts to flow. It drowns you with this sensation. And then intellect, it's got this different functions of the mind. That's how we are programmed to be. And that's fine. This is how the human being is. Now, all those functions are working 24/7. And this is where we put our eye. So, in this prakriya, we're saying that thoughts resolve into awareness, and that awareness is known to you as that ever-evident I am, through and through all of these experiences generated by these 5 koshas. As I said yesterday, all experience, oneness experience, spiritual experience, you name it, is always going to be koshas.
I don't know if this is a worthy question, but still, you said that all the subtle elements, they appear in intelligence, the thoughts.
So the intelligence is manifesting as the subtle elements. Yeah.
And is there a difference between, because during, when we talk about the mind, we say there is manas and buddhi, the viveka and the mind, the lower mind and the upper mind. And here you mentioned the word intelligence. So when is it that the automatic mind operates, and when does the viveka, is there any
God, I think what you're doing is, this intelligence is not referring to viveka. Okay, that's the answer. This is sarvajna sarvashakti. In one word, intelligence. Yeah. Okay. Now, so that means that when a thought takes place, awareness is as though now enveloped in a thought. Because awareness is the content, the substance of every thought. Now, in truth, awareness remains free of that thought. Why? Because if awareness was stuck with the attributes of that thought, then, as we said, mind is like that plasticine that keeps on shaping and shifting. Then awareness, being the content of all thoughts, if it was stuck with one attribute, like pen, if your awareness was stuck with this pen, then by the time I show you a pot, you would actually see this. right? Because your awareness will be stuck with this spot. But the fact that your awareness is always free to display something completely new every second, every emotion is able to display itself. Every thought gone, emotion gone, memory gone, life gone, pain gone, sensation gone. Just like this, right? Color, okay? Crystal. It's able to let go of the red to give birth to the green. Able to let go of the green to give birth or to let blue arise. So this means the crystal, through logic, is never conditioned by any attribute. In that same way, your awareness is never conditioned by any attribute, because you're like a crystal, always available to, as though, take on a new thought. How do you show that your awareness is the same as my awareness? How do you show that my I am, my sense of amness, my not sense, but my amness is the same as your amness? How do you show that?
Attributeless.
Attributeless.
So, I mean, if there's no difference, there's no difference.
Good.
Still, it's self-evident.
Good.
So,
So attributeless. So what do I mean? So what does Simon mean by this? Well, suppose I ask you, what is your, awareness? Suppose you want to tell me a color, or maybe it's an intelligent awareness. I have intelligent awareness. But intelligence belongs to the mind, and intelligence doesn't last. But something stays when intelligence goes. That which stays, anvaya, which is non-negatable. And if I say my intelligence is, spiritual, I've got spiritual awareness, maybe that's a possibility. What do you mean spiritual? Please define spiritual. These are all terms we picked up from the world. Suppose I heard about the word spiritual 5 years ago, and now I'm saying I've got spiritual awareness. Well, then what kind of awareness was I before I picked that word up? So this means I can't be spiritual awareness, because it's just a new idea planted in the mind, which I'm now withdrawing from my memory, attaching to my mind, and then identifying with, and then saying I am that spiritual awareness.
qualifying awareness all the time.
Yeah, you're qualifying.
Higher awareness, lower.
Yeah,
better,
yeah. Exploring states of consciousness. I saw this place in Bali, Exploring, come over. Let's explore states of consciousness. Let's explore conditions or levels of consciousness. Consciousness and awareness strictly is that which is attributeless. You cannot explore it. In its presence, there is a mind that is busy exploring, trying to reach it as some object, but it can't, because just the fact that there is a mind shunned by awareness, constantly shunned by awareness, no matter what the mind tries to find or discover, there is a presence lighting up that mind. That presence is always available, that is Brahman. The second is, we have explored thoughts, then the I sense. In the mind, there is an I sense. And this I sense is this I. I am here. I know about this thought. I know about this memory. I know about this logic. I know about this class. I know about this teacher. I know about me writing things down right now. I know about me shaking my head. I know about me going like this with the head. Okay? That knower is the I sense. The only difference between that kind of a thought, it's also a thought, a vritti, but it's a much longer vritti that lasts throughout the whole day. This vritti only lasts, look at this, vritti, gone. But still, look at this, I know that there is a pot. So there is the I sense vritti, and there is the pot vritti. But now, I know, plus I know there's a pot gone, but still I know that there is no pot. So this I know continues and is much longer, and it lasts when you wake up until you go to sleep. And it takes different roles. It goes through doer, 3 major roles: doer, enjoyer, and knower. Knower. Do you ever take any other role than this? Overall, in your life? Can you think of yourself taking a different role? Even if you answer to me right now, you are a doer. While you're listening to this, the I sense is a knower. Now, to say something like, I am the witness of my thoughts. I am the knower of my thoughts. What's the content of that entire statement, of that entire experience? I am the knower of my thoughts. The content of that is also awareness. So that thought is gone, presence remains. And you can't do anything about that presence because you are that presence. You're choicelessly aware. You are choicelessly aware while being a doer, while being an enjoyer, while sitting on the hammock, looking down up in the sky. Life is good. Life is good. That belongs to the mind, that whole goodness and emotion. But there is a choiceless awareness. Choicelessly aware while knowing. Please stop being aware right now. With all of your might and magic. Stop being aware. I even know that I'm trying to stop being aware. Can't do it. So the only presence that is choiceless is you. Because it is you. The sun choicelessly shines because that is its nature. You choicelessly light up all your thoughts, all your mind's thoughts, all the conditions of the 5 koshas. Because that choiceless awareness I am. Okay. So we've done verse 21. What verse do we stop at? 20, okay. Okay, now verse 21. So, just to give us some context. So, suppose you miss out on these 2 teachings, that the content of every thought is awareness, and the content of this I sense, which goes through 3 roles, is also awareness. Suppose you miss that out. What is the effects of that? How does that manifest in one's life? And it will talk about some of that. Verse 21, attributions of body and senses on Atma. Deha indriya gunan karmani amale satchidatmani atyasyanti avivekena gagane nilata adivat. See, when he says attributes of the body, so in other words, it's about the gross body, the senses, which is indriyani, which is the subtle body, and the causal body, karmani. So when all these 3 are mistaken as I, when your physical sensations, right, bodies you, subtle thoughts, memories, and emotions, that is you. And when this habits, I have habits, this is causal body. I have desires, this is causal body. I have certain personality is causal body. When I am that, then I take myself as a jiva. So jiva specifically means that all my identity, myself, I am put in all these 3, and I am as good as these 3. And that's how I continue to carry myself throughout the world. Now, when you discover that these 3 are incidental, they're only just manifestations, temporary manifestation, upadis. When you discover them to be nothing but projections of this projecting power, okay? Then they are no longer an upadi for you. Now they are Brahman. They're only an upadi from the standpoint of the one who has not inquired into the teaching. Therefore, don't say I'm wearing upadi. Through a cognitive analysis, I recognize this body, this thought, this ahamkara. It's reducible into nothing but 5 elements. 5 elements into intelligence, which was here for millennia, and is making your mind what it is right now, making your body what it is right now, and that intelligence has no reality without existence and awareness, Sat and Chit. And that Sat and Chit is known to you right now as I am, through and through all thoughts and experiences. It is that I which is in every thought. One thought is not inside another thought, but what is in both thoughts? I am. That common, invariable, consistent, persistent, non-evading, silent, unverbalized presence is you. You don't have to verbalize I am to know that you are. It's unverbalized. It's non-interfering. If awareness interfered with the thought, what would happen? Give me an example. Suppose awareness had an attribute, and it's somehow, the moment awareness with an attribute interferes with another thought, what would happen? It would get corrupted. That thought wouldn't be that thought anymore. You would be a little bit confused. What is this? Just the fact that every thought is it, there's no doubt about it, shows you that that I am nothing that interferes. I have no attributes. I am not one with an attribute who just sort of pushes that thought away or plants some sensation onto it or colors it in. I'm just a presence. Just like the physical eye has no attributes as color, has no color of its own. You understand this? Has no color of its own. Because it has no color of its own, sight has no color of its own, is why I can see all colors. The moment the sight becomes red, then whatever is seen will become overlaid with red. That means I could not see red anymore because I'm already red. When I see green, whatever green plus red is, right? Always some different color.
Like jaundiced eyes.
You go. Okay? Therefore, the nature of awareness is non-interfering, non-participating, impersonal, unverbalized presence. It doesn't interfere with any of your thoughts. It doesn't, quote, participate. It just is shining. It's being itself. In the presence of itself, all thoughts, sensations innocently just get lit up. And you go, ah, thought. That's because you are Brahman. In the presence of you, Brahman, all these thoughts become revealed. So, having said this, if I am Brahman, then what is my relationship to Andre? What is my relationship to Petra? What is my relationship to Ninu? What is my relationship to Simon? What is my relationship to Otto? What is my relationship to Morita? What is my relationship to etc.? I am Brahman. What is my relationship to Daisy?
It's the same awareness.
What kind of a relationship do I have?
Satya,
Satya Mithya relationship. So I, Brahman, have a Satya Mithya relationship with Jens.
With all the upadhis same.
It's always going to be the same. You just replace that name. Because if there's only one, you can't be different from that one. It's just logic. So you have a Satya Mithya relationship with this world.
As though it is separated by upadhis.
It is as though separated by the presence of body. Yeah. And that upadhi, where does it come from? From my own projecting power. Now when I say my, I'm not referring to Andre, I'm referring to Brahman. If Brahman could speak, he would say that. But he has no attributes to speak. So we have to kind of use words to try to communicate it. Okay? Therefore, knowing this reality, I am Brahman. Not knowing this reality, I am a jiva. So don't say I am a jiva. I am a jiva talking to you. I am Brahman and my jiva is talking to you. Wrong language. Jiva, technical name, means my I, Atma, is putting the three bodies. Yeah. So all these words have precise meanings.
Why did Satyamitra relationship, like my relationship with you, Satyamitra, when I know that it's all
Yeah, so Satya,
Can you repeat, please?
the question is, why is it a Satya Mithya relationship between this and that when you and I are the same?
Yeah, humans, I mean, like human to human.
Yeah, so for example, you go back to a simple example, like a clay. What kind of relationship is this? It's a Satya Mithya relationship. So this means, is there actually a pot here? Is pot an addition onto the clay? Think about this. Is pot an addition? If I take the pot out, have I insulted, have I done something to the clay? If I break this pot, has clay become less? Okay, maybe a different example. I'm trying to read your face to connect. Take water. Maybe water is a bit. Yeah. Take water, a better example. So all throughout the ocean, okay, it's just H2O. Can you find anything other than H2O? Suppose it's a clean ocean, so the mind doesn't fly off, right? Dirt and all this stuff, right? Fish, just H2O. Now, suppose you are one of those waves. For now, for the time being, you're one of those waves, and you're just sort of drizzling along and shaking hands with other waves and having a good time, right? And going through life. And you are not away from the ocean. You're never outside the ocean. You never outside. Ocean is the Ishvara example. So you're never apart from those laws that are set up that causes one wave to go to a certain height and then eventually have to crash back down. You don't choose those laws. That happens on its own. That's Ishvara's laws. That's the ocean's laws. So you're a participant in the ocean. Now, so there's you, and now there's another wise wave. Now, what does the wise wave understand that the unwise wave doesn't understand?
That my reality is water.
That my reality, that there is no essential difference between the ocean, which is Ishvara, and I, which is a wave. Yes, Ishvara is much bigger, in whom everything is. I am just one, temporarily, one of those manifestations of Ishvara. But our essential nature is nothing but H2O. Can you find anything other than H2O in the entire ocean? Can I find anything other than H2O in the wave? No. There's only H2O. So this means as a wave, I still participate in this world, doing what has to be done, still acting like a normal person, wearing normal wavy clothes, eating wavy food downstairs, attending wavy classes, doing all these wavy things, all made out of water. For the time being, that is to be done. But do you have to keep reminding yourself, okay, I'm H2O, I'm H2O, I'm H2O. Once you understand everything's H2O, you let it go, continue normal life. Continue normal life. So what is now the relationship between the wave, the ocean, and into which they both resolve, which is the water, H2O? What is their relationship? Satya Mithya relationship. Is there any essential difference between the three of them? Only in name and form. But is name and form an actual difference? No, it is only H2O. This is the vision of a wise person.
Say, for example, my relationship with Vishal.
Yeah. At the wave level,
At wave level and wise wave, because we both have understanding about Dvaita.
yeah.
So how come that is Satyamitra relationship?
That is called an empirical transaction. That's an empirical relationship. On a deeper level, it's a Satya Mithya. So you have to keep all levels at the same time. What do I mean by that? I mean at the level between you and I, there is a role. We're playing roles. Waves are playing role. One wave is a student, another wave is a teacher. We play roles. We play roles between mom and dad, brother and sister, and so on. But behind all of that, there's an unverbalized understanding. There's only one here. Essentially, it's all one.
From my standpoint,
Empirically, we both are-
it is Satyamitra. From my standpoint.
From your standpoint, it's a Satya Mithya relationship. From my standpoint, it's also a Satya Mithya relationship. And no matter what standpoint we're speaking of, where does it ultimately resolve into? Only Satyam. So there's only Satyam here. So we only have this Satya Mithya because there's a subject-object thing relationship. If you didn't have subject-object, Satya Mithya is irrelevant. You don't need that. So there's no such thing as Mithya. It's just to arrive to the final thing. That's why we have this prakriya. I can't just say, oh, there is series 1. Okay, goodbye. So we have to use some methodology to arrive to that. That's why we have these prakriyas.
So Andre, is it right you said what is your relationship with all the people in the group? But it's the same, what is your relationship with Andre as a body mind? It's also Satyamitra, no?
Satya Mithya is more relevant in the context of arriving to the final reality, and everything else is just play of names and forms of that final reality. So that play of names and forms, you have to attach Andre, you have to attach Monita, you've got to attach tired, you've got to attach energetic. But those names and forms are just expressions of intelligence, and intelligence resolves into awareness. So ultimately it is a one awareness appearing as many things.
Satya and which is Mithya
Which is Satya and which is Mithya?
in between.
Between what? Go back to the ocean example. What's Satya Mithya? Ways they're participating. Listen, they're participating transactionally, they're participating. You don't need to do Satya Mithya on that. You already know they both resolve into the water. You still operate and do your things at the level of the transactional. No matter how you look at it, even this conversation is a Satya Mithya, because my words are made up of how many letters? You know, this how we feel is made up of what? How much noise outside, and how tired you feel. How did you? On what side of the bed did you wake up today? So many things. So no matter how you look at it, it's a Satya Mithya relationship. But I'm talking about the final understanding.
It's a teaching tool.
At the teaching tool, yeah. When all is said and done, you just look at this body. It's made out of matter. It's made out of 5 elements. 5 elements resolve into intelligence. Intelligence resolves into awareness. What is that relationship across the entire board? Satya Mithya. Okay. And that's why the verse says here, Atma is amale. It's never affected. In other words, it never takes on the attributes. Just like blueness, that's a nice example. Just like the sky. Is the sky blue? No. Why does it appear blue? There's a certain reason for that. In fact, does someone want to tell me? There's gases involved, right? In the play of light, I believe, right? The play of light. So the sky is not really blue. It appears blue. Do you have to do anything to make the sky for your own little, fancy? Do you have to change the sky? No. You just have to understand sky is blue. It's not really blue. Now, is that a belief? No, that's a fact. And even after you understand the fact, does it change the blueness? No. Therefore, you leave the reality alone. It's just seeing through.
Is that the mirage as well?
A mirage.
You know that.
The desert.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a different thing, because that's a different context. That's when you got mirage is your own pratibhasika, your own subjectivities. So you have a son who's looking at the mirage and he runs. Dad, there's water. There's water. He runs. He wastes all this energy in the world chasing for these own bubbles. But the father stays back and understands, it's just a play of your imagination. I don't see the mirage. You see the mirage. That's one example. The second example is both the father sees the mirage and the son sees the mirage. Now the son runs. The mirage represents the world. Runs and does things. That means I take vyavaharika to be true. But the father also sees the mirage, stays back. I don't have to chase. There's no real value in that. I'll stay right here. So it depends which context. Okay, verse 22. Doership belongs to the mind, not Atma. Ajnanat manasa upadhehe kartritva adini cha atmani kalpyante ambugate chandre chalana adi yatha ambhassaha. So he uses the example of water and moon. So imagine there's a vessel and it's full moon, right? It's shining on the vessel and there's water. And water is making that moon, which is completely still, it's making it move. Now, suppose that you're not thinking. What are you going to try to do to still the moon? To still the water. So now what do we try to do in ignorance to still, to get and see the purity of the self that's reflected on our minds? We still the mind. Still your mind. Get rid of your thoughts. This is the example. And thereby, this is how we kind of impute, we mix things up. We give attributes of Atma, not attributes, of nature of Atma is imputed onto the mind. Try to stop the mind. Impossible, because the mind is meant to change. You recognize cognitively that wherever a thought is, no matter how wavy, how disturbed, how happy, what's inside that thought? I am awareness. Therefore, this is the. So this means that if we don't have a cognitive fallback, if you don't have some cognitive model through which to experience your thoughts, then what are we going to fall back onto? Whatever, some non-working model. But I understand with this model, whatever thought comes, that thought is mithya, ultimately depending upon satyam. Therefore, not knowing this, self takes on the attributes of the doer. I am a doer, I am doing. The enjoyer, I am now enjoying. What a great life, I love life. Or knower, I am a knower of things. Without a cognitive model, we fall straight into this trap. With the model, you become, what's the word, impervious. You become not affected by this condition. What's the other examples of imputing Atma onto the mind? For example, saying, my mind experienced limitlessness. I experienced limitlessness. Remember, experience is always in the 5 koshas. What experienced limitlessness? The mind. Is the mind limitless? No, it can't even figure out why is the rose red. Why is the rose red? Because of, I think, chlorophyll. I think that's for the green part. But I don't know specifically why is the rose red and not green. So the mind doesn't know. It is limited. It cannot. It falls asleep. Therefore, no matter how much limitlessness you've ever experienced, in any experience, it is only a tiny taster of your true nature. Do I have to now go back and re-experience? No. What do I do? Cognitively, I appreciate, wow, that's my real nature. I can hold that dear and near to me. I don't have to go back. It's always nice, I get it. It's nice to experience these nice things, right? To come together, feel warm, feel comfortable. Like that place when we were a baby in the mother's womb. You felt so safe and warm. No, yeah, you can also say that. More like fighting, why am I stuck in this body? I want to get out. No matter how you look at it, maybe some poetical way I'm trying to communicate. And then boom, everything changes. Now air, I have to, my first gasp for air. I have to, walk. I don't know how to walk. I see this big world. I have to eat. Messy. Therefore, another thing that we can say is Atma is the ultimate seer. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. You can hear this in some teachers. But I want you to learn to say differently. The relationship between me and the seer, which is the ahamkara, the observer, the witness, the sakshi, the knower. The relationship between me and the seer is a satya mithya relationship. I am existence awareness. Scriptures are definitive on their descriptions. You are sat and chit, existence awareness. Now, when we start to say words like I am the witness, I am the seer, I get it. Drikdarsha means seer. But I also want you to learn to be more accurate with your words. The nature of who I am is that of existence and awareness. And my relationship to the seer the ahamkara, is a satya mithya relationship. Wherever the doer is, I am there. Wherever the enjoyer is, I am there. Wherever the knower is, I am there. When the enjoyer is gone, when the doer is gone, what's still there? I am. When the enjoyer is gone, what's still there? I am. When the knower is gone, what's still there? I am. So they all have a dependency on I. Therefore, it's a satya mithya relationship.
Similarly, can we tell for witnesser also?
Witness you can say in different contexts, yeah. So in Drikdrishya Viveka, I will specifically say Sakshi or witness is, Sakshi I will say is awareness. In here, I'm saying Sakshi or witness, observer, knower is all ahamkara. So I'm learning you to snap out of these words, of these, these concrete models. This has to go. What makes a master and what makes a simple person? Flexibility. Flexibility in understanding. Able to look at it from different angles. Now, verse 23. Emotions belong to the mind. Raga icha sukha dukkadi buddhau satyam pravartate shushuptau nasti tanashe tasmat buddhehe tuna atmanaha.
Attachment.
So they belong to the mind and not to Atma. So this means that we're not trying to stop our emotions. We're not trying to stop anything here. Why? Why are you not trying to stop anything? Why are you not trying to kind of shut down thinking or shut down emotions? Why not?
Because it's about realizing into our awareness.
Why else? Good. Why else?
Reinforces the ahamkara.
Excellent. Why else?
Because you cannot stop it.
Good. I was also looking for that answer. Because it is not your creation, you can only stop what you created. If I have a certain image about a person, like I heard some gossip, and it's not true, I carry that gossip about you, for example, and someone comes over to me and says, Andre, what you heard was wrong. What's going to happen instantly to my image that I've built up of you? Instantly gone. I will now see you in the true light. That, my own stuff, I can get rid of. But I can't get rid of what I see in front of me. Because that is Ishvara Srishti. That is creation of Ishvara. Like this, ahamkara I can't get rid of because it is Ishvara Srishti. I can't get rid of my mind. It is Ishvara Srishti. I can't get rid of my emotions. It is Ishvara Srishti. I can't get rid of my desire, my pleasure, pain, attachments. Don't be detached. Don't be attached. What would I say? Be detached. Don't have attachments. You can't get rid of it. Because it's part of the human experience. Just understanding it belongs, you put it in the right place. Nothing wrong with attachment. Of course, there is, you got to work out, am I getting too dependent? This is Bhagavad Gita matter. Now, it uses a nice analogy here, more like a prakriya, not an analogy, which is called another prakriya. I think, it's called Anvaya Vyatireka. Okay. So how do you figure out, specifically, the question is that your likes and dislikes belong to your mind and not you. We use Anvaya, which means present, something that is present, and Vyatireka, something that is absent. So this means if I break this pot, and the pot is no longer present, therefore it is absent. The pot is now absent. So the pot becomes Vyatireka, but what is still present, even after the pot is gone, is Anvaya. So the clay becomes Anvaya. Now you can keep on doing this to atoms and particles and so on. So now it says the words attachment, pain, raga, dvesha, right? Raga, dvesha. Okay. So raga, dvesha belongs to the mind. Okay. We all understand this. If the mind's working, raga, dveshas are there, likes and dislikes. What about in deep sleep? Deep sleep. Is your mind there? No. Is your likes and dislikes? Are you busy going, I really want to do this tomorrow. I don't like that. In deep sleep? No. So this means that likes and dislikes belong to the mind. Deep sleep, so likes, dislikes belong to the mind, and therefore likes, dislikes are yatireka. If you were the likes and dislikes, if the likes and dislikes were you, then they will be present even in deep sleep, but they're not. Therefore, that which is through and through what is available is what is present is I. Therefore, I am free of likes and dislikes. Because logic, if something is you, it should be there all the time. Is the mind with you all the time? No. Deep sleep, sometimes we're not thinking anything. Is thought with you all the time? Is the I sense, the ahamkara, the ego, is that with you all the time? Why not?
It resolves in deep sleep.
Sorry?
It resolves in deep sleep.
Give me why else? Why else is the ahamkara not I?
In the
It
meditation.
is also changing roles continuously throughout the day.
Good. It changes roles continuously throughout the day. Understand? Right now, what role is your ahamkara playing? Nowhere. Let's all just, jump together. What role is it playing now?
Enjoy.
Doer. Yeah, enjoyer. Good. Okay. And then we have to sit down and relax again, enjoyer. Okay. So your ahamkara is a role player. It's just like an act. It's like a putting on an act. So thus, likes and dislikes become negatable. They're vyatireka. Okay. Verse 24. Atma's nature is existence, knowledge, and without a second. So now what's happening is we're getting closer to actually defining Atma. Did you notice that so far we're just sort of negating things and we're having these general inquiries, but we're not actually discussing really what is Atma. Okay, so we're getting closer. Prakashaha arkasya to yasya shaityam agnehe yatha ushnata. Swabhavaha sachidananda nitya nirmalata atmanaha. So, sun's nature is luminosity. Fire's nature is hot. Is fire trying to be hot? Did it decide to be hot? Water's nature, instead of with kind of you can warm up water, but water's nature is coolness. So, what is the nature of Atma? It is pure. It is we'll get to these other words later, existence and knowledge. So this means that Atma, just like fire always remains fire, no matter what. Can you ever make fire cold? Only in imagination. Ever make sun non-luminous? Only imagination. It is what it is. It's non-negotiable. In that same way, Atma is existence, knowledge, which I'll get to later. It's non-negotiable. It is pure. It is pure. It has no attributes. It is never contaminated. You have no karma on you. You actually have no merits or demerits on you. You've never done a good thing or a bad thing in your life. Your body has, but not you. Yeah, really. In that sense, you are pure. Your awareness is pure. It's actionless because it doesn't have hands to do anything. Simon has hands. Andre has hands. But Atma doesn't have hands, doesn't have a mouth to insult someone, nor mouth to compliment someone. So now, if Atma is pure, therefore actionless and all-pervading, does it have any karma? No. So the moment I re-identify with that which is actionless everywhere and has no karma, do I have any karma? No. So this means as long as my I is in Andre, is in the causal body, then do I have karma? Yes. Therefore, when this identity shift occurs, I can't get a new body because I don't have karma. I remain as I am. And what else? it is limitless. So Atma is limitless. So Atma means it's not confined. See, to say something is limited means it has an attribute. Why is this? If I say this has an attribute, what am I simultaneously saying? It is localized in time and space. So something that has no attributes, it means it's formless. It's not bound by anything. Therefore, it remains only one of its own. It is limitless. And how do we arrive to limitless? How did we arrive that there's only one here? Your turn. How do we arrive to that? Instead of me just saying there's only limitless one here.
By applying it on to ourselves.
We applied it onto ourselves. Yeah.
Now we're knowing that it's you.
Okay. Let's do a little bit more detailed. Give me something that evades you, something that eludes you, something that's very strange, something that you want to know about. Maybe some special metal. Maybe, huh?
Black hole.
Black hole. A good one. I actually want to know about that myself. What's in the center? What happens when we go through? Do we go to a different universe? Okay. Black hole. What is that made of? That is a question, right? Time and space. It's ultimately still within time and space, but time and space resolves into intelligence. Intelligence resolves into awareness. So this means that no matter what you analyze, it's always going to resolve to the same substance. So there's only one substance in the universe. In that sense, it is limitless. So you can't say now that Drik and Drishya, you know how we started out, the seer and the seen? You can't now say, oh, it's seer and seen is good, but is there any difference between Drik and Drishya? Is there any essential difference between the wave and H2O? No difference whatsoever. Same substance, in other words, it's only one. So what does the word limitless mean?
Subject, object.
Content of everything. What else does limitless mean? What have you understood by this? Only one. Keep going.
It has no boundaries.
Good. Keep going.
Nothing is left out.
Nothing left out. Keep going. Your personal understanding. Go. Confidence.
Infinite possibilities.
Infinite possibilities. More into Ishvara. More into Ishvara. Yeah, but that's more.
Pervasive.
Huh?
Pervasive.
All pervasive. Keep going. Limitless. Something is limitless. What does limitless means? Huh?
Unchanging.
Unchanging. Good. It is of itself. Never different.
It's all.
It's complete.
It's all.
It's
All.
oh, it's everything. It's the whole. Keep going.
Always.
Huh? It's full. Yeah, full. Good. What do you understand by limitless?
There's no second.
There's no second. This is what I wanted to hear. There's no second. There's not something other than it. It's the only thing there is. Therefore, it's not two. And what is not two? Advaita. So what's another word for limitless or ananta or ananda? Advaita. Because it's the only thing there is. It's the causeless cause, the atishtana, from which everything arises. This we will continue after break. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti